Welcome back, Towners. Today we're going to make a Rutabaga Breakfast Hash. Let's get it. Alright, Towners. To start off this recipe here for our Rutabaga Breakfast Hash, we're starting off with our rutabaga. Basically going to peel it and cut it in half. Now be careful with the rutabaga. They have a waxy skin on the outside of them. So if you have a super sharp knife, you can possibly cut yourself if you just go straight in and try to start cutting it. You can try to use some hot water or basically boil a whole rutabaga for about a minute or two in some hot water. And it'll basically melt the wax off of the outside of the rutabaga, basically enough for you to try to get a good grip on it. Went ahead and tried to cut this in half. That's basically the hardest part of this dish, is trying to cut this thing in half. My knife basically got stuck right in the middle of here and I could not get it out. I tried running water over it, tried banging it on the table. I eventually had to get another knife and cut along the sides of it to try to make some secondary cuts and maybe be able to break it in half. But just be wary. If you got a really thick one, it's going to be hard to try to cut that thing in half. But after we got it in half and got it all peeled, it was time for us to start cutting this up. So we just tried to cut this up into about 1-inch pieces. Our ultimate goal was to try to get this like in 1-inch cubes, but just cut this up into the sizes or pieces that you want everything else to be cut into, because basically the rest of the vegetables and everything else, we're going to try to cut those in the same size pieces. So we took our rutabaga and basically cut all this up into the cubes. We got about a total of about 5 or 6 cups worth of rutabaga from this half that we had. Placed it into a bowl, and then we went over to our stovetop. We had a pot of boiling water waiting for us. So we went ahead and poured all of our rutabaga cubes into our boiling water, and then hit it up with some kosher salt, popped the lid on it, and then just let that go. We cooked that over high for about 12 to 15 minutes, basically for long enough for it to become fork tender. Now, while that was cooking, we went ahead and went back to our cutting board. We have a yellow onion, 2 poblano peppers, some jalapenos or homies, orange bell pepper, tomatoes, and some smoked sausage. And went ahead and diced and cut all that up. Once we were finished cutting all that up and prepping all that, it was time for our rutabagas pretty much to be done. We came back to the pot, lowered the temp on it, and got a fork out. They were fork tender, ready to go. So we turned off the heat, pushed that off to the side, just let that sit for a while. Now we have another skillet here, and we're going to start cooking our veggies. We put in some olive oil, and then got our cutting board and placed basically all of our veggies and meat that we chopped up into the skillet, except for the tomatoes, the yellow onions, the sausage, the poblano peppers, our homies, the jalapenos, and the bell pepper. Once that was all into the pot, just went ahead and started mixing that up. We raised the heat up to a medium high and started to cook this through. Took us about a minute or two of just sauteing this as is, just to get it to sweat and release some of its juices of that. Now, to season this up, we pulled out some of our Cooking with Thatown2 seasoning. We have our Cajun Blackening seasoning, as well as our Italian seasoning. Feel free to use whichever brands that you have available, but if you would like to purchase some of the seasonings, we do have them in the link in the description box below. We use basically a tablespoon of each of these seasonings, mix them together, and then sprinkle them into our pot. And again, just continue to mix and combine all this to get our seasoning to coat everything in the skillet. Now, once we got everything coated, we went back to our pot of rutabaga with the water, went ahead and drained all of the liquid out of that pot, and then poured all of our rutabaga cubes into our skillet with our veggies and meat. And then went ahead and started to mix all this together. Now, before I started cooking all this, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to cook it, if I wanted to do it in the oven or on the stovetop. But decided to do this time on the skillet on the stovetop. So to get to the potatoes, the rutabaga were acting as potatoes, are cooked through. But we wanted to get some browning on that. So we basically tried to flatten everything out to get some surface area on the bottom of the skillet, and just left it alone for about 2 to 3 minutes to try to get some color on that side. and then flipped it over and basically tried to repeat the process on the back half. So here we're just leaving it alone, letting it cook, and then flip it, do the same thing, just get as much color as we can. We then popped in our tomatoes and cooked that through for about a minute or so for that to start releasing its juices. And once the juices released from the tomatoes, it kind of changed the color of the rutabaga. That was a horrible flip there. But this is our final product. We did also, once everything was done, we did take a handful of baby spinach and put that over top and let that go. All right, Towners, here is our Rutabaga Breakfast Hash. Let's hopefully we can get this on here. I basically added some eggs to it, and then also some sugar-free ketchup mixed with some sriracha and Tabasco sauce right here. But here is our dish. Hopefully it doesn't fall out of the bowl. But this dish came out really nice. It was quick and easy. Adding tomatoes in at the end. Once they sweat it down, I popped the tomatoes in and put the lid on top of it and just let it go. And that kind of turned everything a reddish color. We darkened it a bit, but that doesn't bother me at all. Still got some steam coming off of these. But let's give it a try. It does a job for me, mimicking potatoes. I enjoy this a lot. Got a little spice to it from the jalapenos and the poblanos that we added to it. I also, once I finished and took it off the heat, I did drop in some spinach, just let that wilt on top. Just add some more veggies to it, but it's good, guys. Now, I was going to, I was trying to figure out if I should put it on the stove top or if I should roast it in the oven. I still have a whole half of the rutabaga left. So I do want to try it in the oven just to see how those come out. It can get more crispy, which I was trying to do in the pan, but it was just too much stuff in the pan to do that at the same time. I may have been able to, after they came out of the water, pop them straight into the pan with a little bit of oil to pan fry them. But I was ready to get everything started cooking, so I just went this route, but it still came out great. It's good, guys. Try this out. Try this breakfast hash out. My bowl is about to be a mixture of
all right, guys, that was our taste test. Hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. This came out really good. I definitely want to try this again, try in an oven to see if we can get some more crispiness on it. But besides that, everything was fine. It was a great dish. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to hit us up in the comment section below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy.
Enjoy, and please subscribe. Enjoy.
Hey Towners, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. All ingredients and directions are listed in the description box below each video. And as always, thank you guys for watching.